Hi, good morning. It's nice to see everyone. Thank you for coming. And it's so wonderful to be in this room that was built with such love by Rick and his family and the organization that is Saddleback. It's a great honor. I like to start by giving you a quote from a man that I respect to no end. His name is Robert Greenleaf. And Robert Greenleaf is the father of servant leadership. He created the Servant Leadership Institute and devoted his life to servant leadership. And he says this: "Not much happens without a dream. And for something great to happen, there must be a great dream. Behind every great achievement is a dreamer of great dreams. Much more than a dreamer is required to bring it to reality, but the dream must be there first." I'm going to talk a little today about transformation. That's the theme of the day. Transformation is a marked change, as in appearance or character, usually for the better. Let me tell you that the newspaper industry is in need of a transformation. When my partner Aaron Kushner and I started looking at the business, we started getting a lot of questions from folks, and they said, "You guys seem like a couple of smart guys. What the heck are you doing in the newspaper business?" And the answer is this: when we looked at this business, we saw an industry whose leadership had basically given up and started to blame the circumstances. It was the internet. It was the 24-hour news cycle. It was the soundbite-driven culture we live in. Nothing to do but manage inevitable declines. When we looked at it, we saw something very different. We saw an industry whose problems could actually be mapped back to some really bad decisions, proving or suggesting that when you make bad decisions, they do come back to haunt you. Sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it happens instantly, but when you make bad decisions, you can be assured that at the end of the day, they will come back to you. The two bad decisions that I point to in the newspaper industry are, first and foremost, the decision that the industry made 18 years ago when, as an industry, they said, it's okay to take our core product, which is the news, and deliver it for free if you're willing to take it in what today is an inferior media format, dial-up internet. So we're gonna take the product that we've spent all of our effort, energy, and money creating, and we're gonna deliver it to you for free. Now, what they thought was that they were gonna make the money back from digital advertising. Lo and behold, 18 years later, digital advertising hasn't panned out quite the way everyone expected. It's not quite the same value as print advertising or television advertising or radio advertising. They were wrong. But they weren't the only ones who were wrong, so I don't blame them greatly for that. What I do blame them for, however, is missing the fact that there's a much more insidious problem that comes from pricing your core product at free. And that product is, you are training your customers to believe that your product has no value. Because we in America, probably other places around the world, we understand what free means. We have a very evolved consumer culture. We all walk into stores every day, we evaluate product costs, and we decide what we want to buy. And when someone prices something at free, a bell goes off in our head. We think, they're either trying to trick me or that thing's worthless. This industry has spent 18 years training an entire generation of people to believe that if you find something online and it's content, it must be free. Go talk to a 23-year-old, 25-year-old, 28-year-old, and ask him what he pays for online. They'll tell you nothing. They've been trained. It's not their fault. That's where they are. I like to point to McDonald's. McDonald's does a great job. You walk in the store, they'll give you ketchup, they'll give you napkins, They'll give you Wi-Fi in the stores and beautiful television with cable TV on it, but they'll never give you a cheeseburger. The second hole in the boat, I like to call it, right? Can't make your boat move forward if it has two major holes in it. It's gonna sink. So first you have to shore up the holes, then you can make the boat move forward. Second hole in the boat is the industry's dedication and devotion to finding new digital revenue streams. If you walked into the CEO's office at any major newspaper company in America and asked him or her what the core strategic initiatives for the business are for 2014, you know what each of them will say? Number one, find new digital revenue streams. And number two, make my business less reliant on print. Can I tell you that they are wrong? You know how I know that? Because they've been doing it for 18 years. And do you know that the combined revenue contribution from all of the digital revenue streams in the newspaper industry is 10% of the revenue of the industry? So 18 years of massive overinvestment. 50% of the resources, listen to them talk about it. It's all they talk about is digital, digital, digital. And after 18 years, 10% of the revenue comes from digital. So I ask you two questions. Number one, should you be focusing your attention on 10% of your revenue or 90% of your revenue? Second question, and this is a more interesting question I find, because I really don't have an answer to this one. Why don't you read the data? When you make an experiment, you have a hypothesis, you test the hypothesis. The hypothesis is people are reading less in print and more online. Let's turn our attention to the online component of our business. Let's overinvest in it because we need to think about the future. That's our hypothesis. Test the hypothesis. We're gonna overinvest for a few years, see what happens, but for God's sakes, read the data. When it comes back and shows you that it's not working or not working well enough, it's time to try something else. So that's why we got in the business, but that's not a business model per se. The business model actually follows the industry. So let's look at this industry for the last 75 years. This is an industry that for 75 years ago became a monopoly. If you wanted news and you're living in the 40s or 50s or 60s in the United States, the only way to get consistent, in-depth news was by subscribing to a newspaper. It's called a monopoly. What are you supposed to do if you are a monopoly producer? You are supposed to ignore your core customer, who in this case is the subscriber, and focus on your high-value customer. Now, why do you do that? Because your core customer can't go anywhere. It's a monopoly. Your high-value customer is providing 90% margins, right? You sell them an ad, and 90 cents out of every dollar goes right to the bottom line. So focus on your secondary customer, your high-value customer, and you'll make a lot of money. And the newspaper industry for a long time was driving 30% net returns. It was a cash cow business. You look back into the 50s, 60s, you find that some of the wealthiest families in the United States were the newspaper owner families because they were living in a monopoly world. But guess what happened? Right about 1996, two major events occurred. Number one, the popularization of the internet. Netscape went public. New world, new platform for distributing news information. Second thing that happened that people don't necessarily think back to, 1996 was the birth date for two cable networks, MSNBC and Fox News. They would join CNN, and now, if you like news, you have a nearly infinite opportunity to get as much news as you want on television, on the internet, and on Twitter and Facebook and wherever you want to get it today. It's not a monopoly business. If you figured that out as an economist, what would you do? You would turn your attention back to your core customer, because now your core customer can go somewhere, and you need to go get him and protect him with your life. So that's our core insight. Our core insight in joining this business is that the newspaper industry is not an advertising-first, subscriber-second business. It is a subscriber-first, advertiser-second business. So we wake up every day trying to figure out a way to deliver more and more and more value to our subscribers. Understanding that when we have more subscribers, they're more engaged, guess who's gonna knock on our door? The advertiser. Advertisers chase subscribers, not vice versa. It's a virtuous cycle. So we turn the cycle of destruction into a cycle of growth. So how did we do that? Well, before we get into that, let's look at other parts of the media industry and see if anyone else is doing it. It turns out that there are many examples in media of subscriber models. Think about HBO. HBO gets no money from advertisers. 100% of their revenue is from subscribers. ESPN drives 70% of their revenue from subscriber fees, only 30% from advertising. Two of the most successful media companies in the world. Michael Bloomberg became one of the wealthiest men in the world, not by selling ads, but by selling a box on your desk and a content stream to that box, right? SiriusXM, the cable companies, they're all subscriber models. Subscriber businesses work, and subscriber businesses have modelable, stable, you can model the value of a customer so you know how much to spend to get him. So we're not the only ones to think of this, we're just bringing this model to the newspaper business. So how did we do it? Or how have we done it? Because we're certainly not anywhere near second or third base. We're just getting started. As a matter of fact, a show of hands, how many people here subscribe to the Register? Excellent. That means that by the end of this talk, I'm gonna ask you again, how many people are going to subscribe to the Register tomorrow? And I expect every hand to go up. Excellent. That's why I'm here, actually. We undertook a methodical process to aim at the subscriber. And let me tell you a little bit about what I mean by aim at the subscriber. When you're in the subscriber business, that means you're in the content business. It means you're in the quality business, and it means you're in the product business. I'll tell you a little story about one of our executives who came up to me a few months ago and he said, you know, it's really refreshing. I spent 20 years in the newspaper business, and for the first 17, I was a worker bee. The last 3 years, I made it to the executive team, and I was really excited. I would go to my weekly executive team meetings, and can I tell you that we spent the entire meeting focusing on 3 topics, and 3 topics exclusively. We talked about finding new digital revenue streams, we talked about cost cutting, and we talked about selling advertising. Can I tell you that we never, in 3 years, talked about the product? I'm gonna say that again. In 3 years, they never talked about the product. This is a newspaper business. The CEO of these companies don't even know they are in the product business. They think they're in the advertising business. We wake up every day trying to figure out a way to deliver $10 to $20 worth of value in every newspaper, knowing that we're asking you to pay $1. We believe that if we can over-deliver value against cost, everyone will buy it. And we've undertaken a 4-point plan to do that. So what's the first thing we did? We massively invested in content. We hired 400 people in the last 18 months in Santa Ana, California. Half of them are in the newsroom. So we doubled the size of our newsroom. We took the paper and doubled the size of the newspaper. It's now twice as big as it used to be. We created 25 new sections of the paper. We now have sections on food and fashion and faith and values. We have cars section we call wheels. We have a celebration section. We have a pet section. We have a go and do section, a show section, a TV section. We have 4 sections on high schools, 3 called OC Varsity Sports and 1 called OC Varsity Arts. So now we cover music, theater, and dance at the high school level in Orange County. You don't need to be an athlete to be in the paper anymore. We counted on the first day that we came out, we named 400 kids in that first section who get their name in the paper. And guess what? Getting your name in the paper, that means something, right? You cut it out, you frame it. How many people in this room framed the day that they were in the paper when they were a kid? Right. How many people still have that in their room at home? Yeah, exactly. How many people have ever put their iPad up on the refrigerator? How exciting is it to be online? Mom, Dad, I'm online. Really? Did you put a Facebook post up? Did you tweet? It doesn't mean anything, but being in the paper means something. There's an emotional value to being in the paper. Second thing we did, we invested in local. We took all of our 23 local community papers, whether you live in Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, whether you live in Lake Forest, whether you live in Aliso Viejo, you have a weekly community paper. We took those papers, transformed them from tabloids to broadsheet, so we doubled the size, we added color, and we put a team in each market. And I'm not ready to say that the Register is the best newspaper in the country yet. Talk to me in a year or two. But I am ready to say that our community papers are the best community papers around. And I know that because we're the only ones investing in them. We're the only ones paying attention to them. We've expanded that, so we now have 29 community papers across Orange County, and we launched a daily community paper in Long Beach. The third thing we did was we bought a magazine company. So now, if you want long-form content that'll stick around, a story that lasts for more than a couple pages, we'll give it to you in OC Register magazine or in OC Metro. You can get glossy photos. You can get pictures of the society events that go on in color. And really significantly, and people don't really pay attention to this, you can get the beautiful advertising that shows up in a magazine, right? Advertising works in print. How do you know that? Watch a woman go through a Cosmo or a Vogue. All she reads is the ads. It's where the beautiful dresses are. It's where the celebrities are, the watches, the shoes. It's in the advertising. Advertising is actually content in print. People lose sight of that, because guess where advertising isn't content? Online. It's about as far away from content as you can find it online, right? It's a disturbance, it's an interruption, right? We have pop-up blockers. When an ad comes up, we chase the X, right? Our eyes are trained at the middle of the page, right? I like to ask people, in this room, when was the last time any of you clicked on a digital ad? Has anyone clicked on a digital ad in the last week, month, year, on purpose? So we have built, you have. There you go. The fourth thing we did is my favorite. That's the one that I think is the most innovative, and I really like it because I went to business school at MIT, and at MIT, they train you that innovation equals technology. I don't believe that. I think there's plenty of ways to be innovative without using technology as your core product. We created a rewards program called Register Connect. Register Connect rests on 2 foundation components. The first thing we did was Last year, we sent $100 gift checks to every one of our 7-day-a-week subscribers to the Register. Each gift check arrived at the home. The subscriber was able to endorse over that gift check to the nonprofit organization of their choice in Orange County. We delivered $12.5 million worth of value. We then aggregated that, delivered it to the nonprofits in the form of advertising in the Register. So last year, we gave $340,000 of advertising to the Orange County Salvation Army. Because that's what the subscribers chose. The Second Harvest Food Bank got $80,000. The Catholic Church got $100,000. The Wounded Warrior Project got $320,000. They're advertising all over. They get to tell their stories. They get to announce their events, promote their people on our pages to the community because the community gave to them. Second foundation component is the one that we extended. We did a deal with the Angels where, as a subscriber to the Register, you can go to any Angels game you want on us. We got access to all of their unused ticket inventory. And we said, we will take that and we will fill your stadium with our subscribers, understanding that they won't find out that they got their tickets until 72 hours before the game starts. So that's why the Angels like it. They're not eroding their ticket base. But if you don't mind not knowing whether you're going to the game, we'll give you the tickets, and you can use them once a week, every week for the season. How's that for your $30 a month subscription? Right? We've extended that program. It now includes Knott's Berry Farms. It includes tickets to the aquarium in Long Beach. It includes tickets to Del Mar Racetrack. You can go to the Laugh Factory. You can get a Plant of the Month. You can go to Boomers and play miniature golf. Our transformation from a newspaper business to a subscriber business to a community asset, we believe that newspapers are here and exist to build their communities. That's the transformation. It's not coming from a news organization to a digital organization. It's understanding what newspapers are. They are institutions of their communities. I've come to say, we are by far not the biggest company in Orange County. Many, many larger companies than we are. But if you take away the government, and if you take away the utilities, we have more customers in Orange County than anyone else. We have a scale business in Orange County, and it is incumbent upon us to use that scale to build that community. And that's what we're here for. Our tagline is, we are here in the service of Orange County. Because we believe, as I mentioned, servant leadership, my friend Robert Greenleaf, he's not really my friend because he's not around anymore, but we believe that our mission is to serve the community and be that institution that binds the community. But there's responsibility on your end as well. This only works if you guys feel that being a subscriber to the Register is an act of citizenship in Orange County. So I'm not ready to do it yet, but I will get a show of hands of all the people who are going to subscribe tomorrow. I'd like to close with a quote, and this is really to get you guys off the dime. It's from Julius Caesar. There's a tide in the affairs of men which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune. Omitted, all the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. On such a full sea are we now afloat, and we must take the current when it serves or lose our ventures. Let's not lose our ventures. Let's understand why we're here. Let's understand our mission, and let's help transform our community, Orange County, into one where we communicate with one another, and let's use the Register as a marketplace for those ideas. Thank you.